Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Style Coach Counsel today with myself, Sarah Ryan. Hi there, Carolyn. Lovely to see you. And we've got Lee Pycroft in today as well. Hello, Lee.
Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. Wonderful to see you, and thank you for inviting me along.
It's always a pleasure to have you in the class, Lee. So in today's class, what we're going to do is slightly something different. You may have guessed from the sparkles going on and the Santa hat. We're going to do a little bit of a Christmas special, but I still invite you to type in your questions into the chat. We're going to do a little bit of makeup today as well, because Lee is here. Now, Lee is our beauty expert, of course. That's why I've got no makeup on at the moment. So
for me,
use me. And we're also going to do a little bit of a quiz. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. If anybody's new here, Lee, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Now, some of you may be familiar with my face. I am Lee Pycroft. I started my career as a makeup artist. I worked in the Hollywood sort of sphere with a lot of A-listers, getting them ready for premieres and that kind of thing. I'm also a registered psychotherapist. And I used to host a class called Connected Beauty, which is currently on pause, where it was a modern day makeup class to brighten your face and soothe your mind. So I'm delighted to be here today to join you in a bit of Xmas sparkle and finding that glow from within that I think we can all probably relate to and want a bit of at this time of year. So really excited to be here, and thank you. And any questions you have along the way about anything makeup or skin, then you can put them in the comments.
Thank you, Lee. Yes, so I invite you to put your questions in, whether it's style, beauty, makeup, anything at all like that. We welcome your questions and comments. So I think what we're going to do is anybody who's a regular in my class will know that we usually start the class with some breathing exercises and affirmations. If you haven't got your affirmations nearby, that's okay. You can borrow mine. I'm going to read mine out before we get started. Otherwise, you can write down your own. I always like to include one that's about my physical body, because I believe that making peace with your physical body is a great way to enhance your style. Because if we're at odds with our own bodies, physical bodies, it's going to be really hard to get that style right, I think. So one about the physical body, and then two as you like. So I'll share mine with you. Feel free to borrow them, tweak them, change them as you wish. Just make sure that they resonate with you. That's the key. So my first one is, I like and appreciate my body. Simple as that. I like and appreciate my body. And I've changed that as well. I used to have it as, I accept and appreciate my body. So depending where you are in your relationship with your body, you might say, I love my body. So whatever works for you, it's got to resonate with you. My second one is, I am abundant in all areas of my life. And for me, that covers everything. It covers love. It covers my relationships. It covers finances as well. It covers absolutely everything. I'm abundant in it all. And my third one is, I am worth it. Simple as that.
Yes.
So feel free to borrow those. And before we get into doing our makeup and answering your questions, let's get relaxed into our seats. I invite you to close your eyes if you wish to do so. Say your affirmations out loud or to yourself, whatever suits you. And let's get started. So we'll breathe in now, saying our first affirmations. Let's go. Breathe in now. And out. Lovely. Second affirmation. Breathe in now. And out. Third affirmation. Breathe in now. And out. Let's do that again. First affirmation. Breathe in now. And out. Second affirmation. Breathe in now. And out. third affirmation. Breathe in now. And out. Let's do this one more time. Breathing in now, first affirmation. And out. Second affirmation. Breathe in now. And out. Last one with feeling. Breathing in. And finishing with a big exhale. Let all the tension go, any negativity, let it go, shake it off.
Let it go, let it go. There's a song in there somewhere.
There is. I think there was a couple of songs there. Shake it off as well. Yeah.
I used to love that song, Shake It Off. Taylor Swift, wasn't it?
That's a good one to get you dancing, isn't it? To get you moving.
Isn't it?
So I think, Lee, what we'll do is maybe we'll start with doing a little bit of our makeup and maybe answering questions as we go. And
Fabulous. Yes.
And then we'll do our little quiz. I've got 15 questions around style. To test our knowledge.
Fabulous, fabulous. So
Wonderful.
let us know in the comments, who wears makeup at Christmas? Who wears makeup firstly? And do you change it for Christmas? Let us know in the comments. And what are your makeup queries? Is there a particular area with makeup that you struggle with? Is it, knowing how to choose a foundation? Is it knowing how to do your eyes? Put any questions you have in the comments as we go, and I will endeavour to answer them for you, and so will Sarah, I'm sure. And that's what we're here for. So I always think, Sarah, coming up towards Christmas, one of the things that people often refer to is their skin gets drier because of central heating and because of the elements and that kind of thing. And so sometimes the foundation that you put on needs to change, or if you're using, say, a tinted moisturizer that's got a more of a matte finish, or an oil-free one, you may need to boost it with some other ingredients that will help your skin remain hydrated throughout the period of time you're wearing it. Because what will happen is, if your skin isn't properly hydrated before you apply your foundation, all that happens is your skin will suck the moisture from the foundation, and then it sits on top of the skin. And I don't know if any of you can relate to that. You put something on your skin and you look in the mirror a bit later and it all looks a bit dry. Well, that's usually why, because the skin's not prepped beforehand. I'm going to turn my light down a little bit because it's a little bit reflective. There we go. That's better. Here we go. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mix my foundation, which is this one by It Cosmetics. Now, this is really good for anyone that has kind of redness in their skin, wants more of a full coverage. It also has an SPF 50 in it, although I'd always recommend you put an SPF 50 on as well, because the amount of SPF you need, even in the winter, because of UVA rays, you would never put enough foundation on to really get enough coverage over your faces with a sunscreen. But this has the added backup of a SPF 50, and it's very what I call blendable. And what that means is you can mix it in with a bit of moisturizer, or what I'm going to do now is with a bit of luminizer to smooth it and thin it out, and also just to give your skin a bit of Xmas sparkle. So I'm going to take this luminizer. This is a lovely one by a makeup artist called Lisa Eldridge, who's a very old friend of mine. And I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm going to mix it in with my foundation. So it's going to be a little bit like a glowy moisturizer. So I'm going to mix that together. I'm going to use a small brush. Do you ever do this, Sarah?
No, I usually kind of do my makeup or the base layers in steps. So I'll do my my serums. And I don't know if this is necessarily the correct order, but I do my serums, my SPF, and then my foundation. And
yes.
I've done that step already, by the way. I have my a very sheer foundation on a light foundation. So I've gone in, and I always do my foundation first and then my eyes, but I think that's probably the wrong way around, because sometimes you get these fallout.
You do. And the thing is, it depends on what you're doing with your eye makeup. So if you were doing a slightly smokier eye, or you were doing sort of something where you were using a darker shadow and you might get fallout, then it might be an idea to do your base afterwards.
Yeah.
But in this instance, I'm going to do it the other way around, putting a little bit of base on first. And does anyone wear foundation? Let us know in the comments if you do. And then when you're choosing a foundation, Sarah, how do you know it's the right color? What's your method of finding the right color normally?
Gosh, I tend to go to a counter. I know already if I need, a cool toned or warm toned, just from my own color analysis experience. So I'm confident enough to walk up to a counter and, take their recommendation, but knowing that I need a cool tone. And I've been, sometimes it looks good in the shop because you're under artificial light and things tend to look great in there. And then you go outside and you see the difference between your neck and your face. So what I tend to do is I'll ask them for the recommendation, take a tester.
Yes.
And go home and put it on and go out in natural daylight and take a mirror and then get a good feel for it. And if it
100%.
kind of just blends in without too much difference between my face and my neck, I know I've got it right. But I've made some expensive mistakes in the past.
Yeah, exactly. The foundation graveyard. I know where people buy foundation, especially if you're buying them off the shelf, you're not going to a counter, so you can't test it necessarily.
Yes.
The other key point to remember, anyone that I'll just see this question here, Carolyn. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
the other thing to remember
as well for you.
Amazing. So the other thing to remember is the physiology of our face, because we all have a different physiology to your face and it will move in different ways. And so when you're buying foundation or anything you're going to put on your skin, like a tinted moisturizer, or anything that's going to add any coverage, you want to put it on, like Sarah said, go away and let your face move and do its thing, because then wherever it's going to sit, it will sit in those areas and you can see if it's workable. So around the eye area, which tends to be most mobile, you're going to, as the muscles contract and release, unless you've really blended the product well, it's going to deposit slightly in those areas. So you'd want to go over with a cotton bud, but and to remove the excess product. But it just gives you an opportunity to check how that foundation or that product you're buying is sitting on your face after it's moved for a while. So hence it's essential to go and look in daylight. A question for Lee, please. What are the best natural paraben chemical-free body lotions and oils? I have extremely dry skin. So Mandy, there is a brand called By Sarah. Now, By
Not
Sarah,
by me.
boom, tish, yeah, exactly. By Sarah is a brand where actually the girl who created it, she was very, very poorly, and anything that she used on her skin or her body, she would react to. So she created a range of products that were as natural as you could possibly get them. So that's By Sarah is one. Otherwise, there's brands like Balance Me, which is available in Waitrose, Balance Me Beauty, which is very good, or Pai Skincare, PAI. They are also a really good natural brand as well, if you've got extremely sensitive skin. So those would be my recommendations, Mandy. And then Carolyn, whenever I try a foundation, it seems to make my wrinkles look more visible. Can't remember the brands. Is there a foundation which may not do this? I have normal skin. So Carolyn, that's exactly what we're saying. We were just saying there, Sarah and I. The thing is, if your skin is slightly drier, and you're buying a long wear foundation, often what happens is it will dry down on the skin afterwards. This particular one I'm talking about, although it's a long wear one and more full coverage, it's not a matte finish. So you want to make sure it's not a matte finish, because otherwise it will tend to enhance expression lines. So you want to make sure your skin's super hydrated by applying something like a hyaluronic acid first, which is what's called a humectant. So basically it will add 1,000 times its weight in moisture and water into the skin. Hyaluronic acid appears in actually in our body naturally. So you apply something like that, it comes in a serum. If you get what's called a multi-molecular hyaluronic acid, it means it has 3 different molecule levels. So it'll penetrate the skin at different levels. So it's going to hydrate it for longer. And you would then put a moisturizer over the top and then your sunscreen. So your skin, when you touch it, feels slightly moist, right? And that is when you know it's hydrated enough to put your foundation on. And something like, this is a serum foundation by Bobbi Brown. Anything that's got serum foundation, that's got moisturizing foundation, those tend to be the ones that are really designed for drier type skins. Although I know you're saying it's normal, but will tend to leave more of a hydrated finish on the skin. Or this CC cream by It Cosmetics, which also comes in a completely broad range of colors, which is really good. But the thing is with this, you only need the minuscule amount for it to get the coverage you need and to make sure your skin's hydrated afterwards. Does that help, Carolyn? And does that help, Mandy? Let me know in the comments if that's answered your questions. If not, I'll add in some more. That was a big download, Sarah, and you're nearly finished your makeup and I haven't got any on yet.
No, I'm not. No, I was listening carefully there. I mentioned this sometimes in my classes, but I worked as cabin crew for about 8 years. So I was doing very long haul flights, and my makeup was, it took a while to find a makeup that would work, because sometimes I'd be wearing that makeup in very dry conditions for 24 hours.
Yes.
And so getting that right, getting that moisture into your skin was so important.
Yeah, and also being on a flight where you tend to get dehydrated anyway, don't you?
Exactly.
That's the thing. Yeah. So I'm applying a concealer now. And you can see I've dotted this onto my face. Now, I haven't dotted it around here. The reason I haven't dotted it around there is I don't need the concealer there. If you have shadows all the way underneath your eyes, then you may need that. If you don't, and a lot of people will often have their shadows. If I look up close, it's in this section here. Right, that's where I've got the darkness more on that side and this side, because I'm a lot older than Sarah. So obviously, as I travel through time, the different fat levels in my face decrease slightly. So things like areas around the eyes may become either more puffy or more hollow. So the idea is you would dot the product on, and I'm going to use my finger, and look what I'm doing. I'm patting, pat, 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 pat. I'm not sweeping. The reason I'm not sweeping is this product has sort of slightly light reflecting particles in. And what that does is help bounce the light. It's also very hydrating. It's quite an expensive product, actually, but you only need a tiny amount of it. It's by Giorgio Armani. As I'm patting it, I'm allowing it to really cover up the darkness, but I'm not breaking down the pigments that are creating the reflection, so the light bounces, and it kind of creates a diffused effect around the eye area. And you can see what Sarah's done there. She's put a little bit on the outer corners of her eyes because there's often a shadow there. And what that does is it helps lift the eye area up by creating light. Does that make sense? So Mandy says, fantastic thank you for natural products. No problem, Andy. And Mandy, sorry, not Andy. What am I talking about? Now I know I need sunscreen even in winter. Definitely. Yes. Which is the best concealer for very tired, baggy eyes? When I use anything that looks awful and I can see it. So if you have slightly puffy eyes, there's a few things you can do. Firstly, if you do things to help lymphatic drainage, that can help. Ross Dutson does a facial yoga class. He's a very old friend of mine on a Friday on Goldster at 10 a.m. And he'll do a lot of exercises that will help tone the muscles around the eyes and help with lymphatic drainage. The other thing is you can't get rid of puffiness with makeup, but what you can do is you can create an effect around the eyes where you sort of distract from it a little bit. And also I do think that sometimes when there's puffiness under the eyes, it actually adds quite a lot of character to someone's face. I was looking at a 1960s art book last night, and there were all these feminists in there, and they had these sort of slight puffiness under the eyes, but they looked really kind of full of character and wisdom. And it was just, there was something quite beautiful about it, because I think we can get sucked into this. If we have baggy eyes, it means fill in the blanks, and it doesn't necessarily. But in answer to your question, what you would need is something that is very hydrating. So if something is very thick or dense, you want to stay away from it, because concealers are used to either cover things like pigmentation. So there's going to be a lot of pigment and they're going to be dense, something like this is by Laura Mercier, Secret Camouflage. And you can see it's brilliant, right? But it's very thick. So if I had a sunspot or something like that, that would be great to cover it up. Or if I had a bit of thread veins, it would be great to cover it up. But it wouldn't be great on anything that's mobile, like this area here, where it's contracting and releasing. So things like this is expensive, but it's by Giorgio Armani, or Clinique Airbrush Concealer is really good. Anything that is a liquid fluid is really good around this sort of area if you need coverage. Manji, I've got your direct message, and I totally understand what you're saying, and thank you for your message. And yes, sleep is always a big issue, and of course the more quality sleep we can get, the better. And if you send a direct message anyone, I won't necessarily always read your name out. Does that make sense, Sarah? You're way ahead on your makeup. It looks lovely.
Well, I've paused for a second because I wanted to hear your thoughts on the importance of eyebrows. Because
Yes.
I'm a classic victim of overplucking in the 90s or around that time, and I've kind of been left with a very thin line. Now I still have dark hair, but I never feel complete without having put a bit of pencil on. And is there ever a time when you would say, oh, there's no need for that? Or is that something you always do in your makeup routine? And what would be the guidance going through life about eyebrows?
So what happens with eyebrows? I mean, I'm a bit of an eyebrow fiend because I think that it's one of the things that people often leave out, because often as we travel through time, eyebrows tend to get thinner along with lashes, right? So you can get eyebrow serums, for instance, and eyelash serums, which are brilliant. This Rapid Lash by Boots is amazing for eyelashes. Don't know if you can see, I haven't got any mascara on, but it's really bulked out my eyelashes. And they also do one for brows, which is good. But when you fill in your brows, much like you are, you help frame the eyes. And I think when we can make them look slightly thicker and sort of straighter, so they're not, especially if you're someone that's plucked them a lot and they don't go too arched, it can really help create an almond shape to the eyes and give the illusion of sort of things being lifted. So I think unless you've got very polished looking brows already, which some people do, and they already have a bit of color in them. Otherwise, I would suggest if you've got gray or white hairs in your brows, dye them with a brow dye and then fill in where you need to. But if I was doing my brows, I would always brush them first, usually with either a gel or just a spoolie. So you brush them up to make sure you've got the shape, and then I would literally fill in around the area that you need to. So like I wouldn't go straight into the middle. I would maybe be just tailing around the edges of the brows. So if I want a little bit more lift, I might concentrate on the angle of the brow there, just to create a little bit more of a lift. And remember, brows are sisters, not twins. So they're never going to look exactly the same. So my left brow is much thinner than my right. But I can just pencil in around the circumference of the brow first and then think about filling in. And if you're new to brows, you find pencils fiddly, then an eyeshadow can work really well, or a coloured brow gel, which will help fatten the hair and volumize it as well as colour it in. Does that make sense, everybody?
That's great, Lee. Thank you. Yeah. And, any questions on style as well? Most welcome to. And I think we'll start our quiz in a couple of minutes, maybe.
Yes, as I finish off doing my makeup.
Yeah, we can concentrate. So get your questions in about style as well, or any beauty questions for Lee as well. How does everybody spend their Christmas? Is there any special traditions? I was just saying to Lee before the class got started here, I do a midday sea swim on Christmas Day.
She's nails.
And, it's not just me. There's a whole community here. I live in a seaside town here, and there could be hundreds of people down the beach on the day.
Never going to be me. It's never going to be me.
Never say never, Lee. I once said that myself.
I'm one of those people that's usually cold. You know, I feel the cold a lot. And the thought of going in cold water on a cold day when I'm already cold does not fill me with joy. Does anyone else relate to that? Oh my goodness. Yes.
Any sea swimmers here?
Right. So you've probably seen I've put a bit of concealer, paler concealer underneath my brows, and you can probably see that creates a bit of reflection. And the great thing about doing this is it opens up the eye area, but it doesn't, because it's not a powder, it's got moisture in it because it's a concealer. It creates the illusion of the brows looking higher, but does not look like makeup. So yes, so Mandy's saying it's post-abuse your immunity. So many coughs and colds are out at the moment. I'm afraid I have succumbed, hence not putting the video on, looking and feeling extremely rough. Oh, bless you, Mandy.
Oh, Mandy.
Yes, I know the cold water is supposed to be, there's loads of research, fantastic. I just haven't quite made the sort of leap of faith yet. Yes. But anyway, back to the makeup. So you can probably see Sarah's done her socket line. So this is a great way of creating an eye-opening effect. So if you've got slightly eyes that don't have much eyelid showing, or you want to create more of an eye-opening effect, you would put your darker matte shadow into the socket of the eye. And using a brush like this, what that's going to do is do the work for you. So you're going to go back and forth like a windscreen wiper and pull out. And what that will do is create darkness and depth to create more of a socket line. And the reason, anyone know why you would do this with a matte shadow and not a sparkly one? Anyone tell me that? See if you can answer that question. I have ideas,
but I'll see what comes in on the chat first.
See what comes in on the chat first. I was curious to know, do you know why we would put a matte shadow into the socket line and not a sparkly one? Let me know your thoughts on that. Makes it recede. Bryony, have you been to one of my classes before? Exactly, it does. It makes it recede. So you're working with darkness and light. So the light is going to pull forward and the darkness is going to create depth and make it recede. Well done, Bryony. Absolutely brilliant. So you can see that just creates a bit of depth into that eye area. And the thing is, Sarah, about makeup is I was watching this thing about feminists last night, actually, and they were sort of saying, you know, looks were currency back in the 60s, you know, and it was about sort of being able to sort of be desirable enough to get married and this kind of thing. And then the feminist movement happened and it was about women coming together and it was about, you know, empowerment and this kind of thing. And I always think, you know, you always say that, have the confidence.
Yes.
What is it? No, wait, let me see if I can remember. Have the tools to put together a great outfit, but the confidence not to rely on it.
There you go.
And it's the same with makeup. You know, makeup can be a great way to express ourselves, to play.
Yeah.
It's a gateway to feeling something different, to having some fun, nurturing yourself, being a little bit playful, exploring with different characters, if you like, you know, putting on a bit of black eyeliner to be a bit more rebellious and just having a bit of fun.
Oh, it's much like style, isn't it? It's a way to express yourself, and totally. I also see it as a wellness tool. Yes. And anything, you know, where you're taking a bit of time for yourself and taking care of yourself, whatever that means for you, that's wellness.
Absolutely.
And if that's makeup for you, great. If it's yoga for you, brilliant. If it's style, brilliant. But it is, you know, I think people can get caught up saying, oh, it's vanity or it's superficial, and I think that's absolute rubbish.
Yeah. What does everyone else think? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. I'm just taking this pencil and I'm going underneath my eyelashes rather than on top. And this is what's called a tight line. So this is what's going to create, especially if you've got sparse lashes, you just want to look like you've got more shape to the eyes. This is what this will do. So literally you can just pull your eyelid up a little bit and go right into the roots of the lashes. And it's super easy. And what you don't risk is when you go over the top of it turning into a wiggly line. But what I'm also going to do is just in several dots, just go over the top a little bit as well, just to create a bit more definition, and lift it up at the edge a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit of a kick out. And what that does, that little triangle, which I'm going to blend, will give a little bit more of a lift to the eye area. So I'm just going to take my brush and blend that out like so. Like that. Yours is looking lovely.
I was just going to say, anybody who attends my classes regularly will know, I'm very particular about colors that I put next to my face, and I felt very washed out with the gold next to my face. Usually silver works better. So silver being cool toned, gold being warm toned. So in this case, where I'm wearing my sparkly Christmas type of jumper, I feel like my makeup is compensating for the colors that I'm wearing next to my face, because before I thought, at least, I was very washed out with just this next to my face. I need a bit of definition. Wearing lipstick there, Carolyn says, gives me an instant boost. Yes.
Doesn't it just?
For an instant boost. I can't wait to get, and a bit of life, I think, to my face as well. I think lipstick is a lovely way to do that.
Love it. What's your favorite color, Carolyn? Let us know. Yeah. And what's your favorite brand? I'm always curious to know. And I'll share what mine is, which I'm going to actually put on to go with my jacket once I've done this.
Would you, Lee, use a lip liner all the time with your lipstick, or does it matter, or does it change throughout life, or what would you say about that?
I think it depends on the finish that you want. So often people used to put a lip liner on and then the lipstick, but I would always suggest putting a lip liner on after the lipstick, and you can tailor where you need to with the lips. The lip shape, you can add a little bit more of a Cupid's bow, or if you want to cheat the top lip or whatever it might be. But I think it's just a great way of just tailoring the lip line. And also, if you tend to find that lipstick bleeds a little bit, then lip liner can help. And also you can get invisible lip liners, which can be very useful as well.
Oh, I haven't heard of those.
Yeah, they're kind of like a waxy kind of finish, and so you put them around the lip line, they'll kind of add as a bit of a barrier to the lipstick drifting, but also using a matte lipstick will stop it from drifting as well, and also allow you to tailor the lip line a little bit more, because anything glossy, obviously, if you go over the lip line, is going to show. Yes. If that makes sense, everybody.
Yeah. So Mandy says here, lipstick stays on me for about 15 minutes or so, whatever the cost and brand. I have now discovered Kiko.
Yes, lovely.
From Milan. It has one coloured end and a clear end. It lasts on me for hours. Love it. Interesting.
Kiko's great.
I've heard of Kiko.
Mandy, isn't it? It's a really great little brand that is, you get a lot of bang for your buck, don't you? And there's a lot of range of colours and textures. So yeah, they're really good. They've been around for a while now, Kiko, but yeah, I think they're really good. That's really interesting to know. Does it feel quite dry on the lips, Mandy, once you put it on and it lasts for that long? Or does it feel does it remain flexible? Not at all. It's amazing. Wow. Carolyn's saying plum or red number 7, or there's one I have from Clarence I've had for a while, plum or red. You've got to love plum or red, haven't you? Really nice.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
I'm nearly ready for the quiz. What do you think, Lee?
I'm not nearly ready at all. So
okay, well then maybe I can do the questions and then you can carry on.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll see if I can answer any of them. There's another lip tint which stays on even longer, looks like a felt tip. Yes, that's right, Mandy, there is. And there's a few brands that do them. I mean, I have to say, I find that when I use those lip pens, my lips just feel like they're so parched at the end, but some people love them. You just got to find the thing that works for you. I think that's the main thing. So you can see I'm using this square brush and I'm just dotting in a bit of liner just to give myself a little bit of a kick on the edge of my eyes, just to give a little bit of a lift. And Sarah does this as well. She always uses a shadow to do her liner, don't you?
I do. I used to use like a gel liner, but as I moved through life, I felt it was just a little bit heavy. An eyeshadow gives a softness to the eye rather than this harsh look to the eye. Yes. So I moved away from using the gels.
Yes. Yeah. You have to be really skilled in tailoring the edge of them as well. Whereas the shadow, the eyeshadow is a bit more diffused looking, isn't it? I think is the thing.
It's more forgiving, and especially I would have hooded eyes down to the, around the side of my eyes. So getting a flick or anything, it can be difficult with a gel. And so the eyeshadow definitely more forgiving when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll start doing some questions. And for that, I'm going to pop back on my hat.
Lovely.
All right. Okay, everybody. So I've got 15 questions based around style, and I welcome your answers into the chat. So let's get going. 15 questions. Question 1. I love a table quiz. How about you, Lee? Do you like a table quiz?
When I'm winning. When I'm winning, I love a table quiz.
Yeah. Okay. So question number 1. Which 70s fashion designer popularized the wrap dress?
Oh.
Now, which 70s fashion designer popularized the wrap dress? Does anybody know? The wrap dress fast became a staple in a lot of women's closets because it's something that suits so many people. It's very flattering. But who is responsible for popularizing it? Does anybody know? Answers in the chat.
It was...
Okay, we've got Vivienne Westwood, perhaps. Okay, any other answers?
Can you give us a clue to the letters in the name? The first letter, Gloria Vanderbilt.
She often goes by just her initials.
Donna Karan.
That's the clue. She often goes by just her initials.
Donna Karan, no?
No.
Just her initials.
American Gloria Vanderbilt? No. Okay, so has anybody heard of DVF? Diane von Furstenberg.
Yes. Yes.
There we go. So her styles, I mean, she created such beautiful dresses that were so flattering on so many women. They really became a staple in many people's closets. So well done. Thank you for the guesses. Okay, number 2. What type of hat was famously worn by Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca? What type of hat was famously worn by Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca?
My dad used to love Casablanca. I can't remember. Anyone remember?
Bryony says Hamburg.
Homburg. Bryony's saying.
Any other guesses?
My fashion sense. Panama.
Panama. Okay, almost. We're on the right lines. It begins with F. F for Freddie.
Fedora. Mandy, yes.
Well, there we go. The answers are coming in now. Well done. Excellent.
A fedora. Okay. Brilliant.
All right. Question number 3. Which international fashion brand has a polo player as its logo?
Ralph Lauren.
Sorry.
Give
me a chance to put our answers in, Lee. Yes.
There we go, Mandy. You got it right.
Well done. Exactly. So a little polo player on a horse. Exactly. Well done. Okay, number 4. Which fashion brand do you associate with red-soled shoes?
Red-soled shoes. Huh.
There we go. Well, that was quick, Mandy. Louboutin. Yes, Christian Louboutin.
Mandy, what's your background? Are you in the fashion industry? You're getting these answers.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Diplomatic service. Okay.
Oh.
So you just have an interest in it, Mandy. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So it's Christian Louboutin, famous for the red-soled shoes, which I think a lot of women covet to have in their closet. But I've heard they're not very comfortable. I
think
don't
they're
have a
more
pair
art
myself.
pieces, aren't they, really? They're sort of things you sort of see and think, oh, I'm glad I've got a pair of those, but I'm never going to wear them.
It's a taxi to a restaurant type of shoe, or you're just sitting somewhere, no walking within the Louboutin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Next question. What's the difference between a cape and a poncho?
A cape and a poncho. I know.
Answers in the chat. Yeah. Answers in the chat. What's the difference between a cape and a poncho? Poncho is one piece. Interesting, Julia. Okay. Poncho goes overhead. Okay. Yeah. Okay. A few people saying overhead, and cape is a wraparound. Exactly. Yes. So they are both one piece. The difference is a cape is going to be something that's draped onto the shoulders and maybe connected at the front. The poncho has a hole for the head, so it goes over the head. So you're absolutely right. Well done. Very good. Okay. Next question. Who were denim jeans originally made for before they became a fashion piece? Who were they made for? Who wore them? Any ideas? So considering the durability of denim, who do you think they were made for? Workmen.
Cowboys. Barbara saying industrial workers in the US. That's what I was thinking. Industrial workers or cowboys. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
So they were made for miners. People working in mines. Yeah. Initially I thought, cowboys, but they fast would have all of these industries, industrial workers, cowboys, miners, anybody who's doing very physical manual labor would need something durable, and denim was it. Not like necessarily some of the denim we have these days, which can be worn pretty quickly, particularly if there's a high percentage of elastane. When you have 100% cotton, much more durable. When you have darker denim, much more durable than lighter denim, because it's been through a chemical process that bleaches the fabric and weakens it. So the higher percentage of cotton and the darker the denim, the more durable they are.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So next question. Which queen wore a white wedding dress, setting the trend for brides? Which queen? I love that lipstick, Lee.
Isn't that nice?
Fabulous.
That is Velvet Carnival by Lisa Eldridge, no friend of mine. But I sometimes actually get this other one, which I put in the middle, which is Relentlessly Red, because it's so matte. Okay. It just makes it a bit more 3D.
I love that.
Nice, huh?
So we have lots of answers coming in here. Queen Victoria, says Mandy, Bryony, and Barbara. You're absolutely right. It was Queen Victoria that first wore a white wedding dress, and that then became the trend. There we go.
Very good.
Question 8. Where was the first ever fashion week held? What city was the first ever fashion week held? So the typical fashion cities would be New York, London, Paris, Milan. So which one was the first one? Mandy says Paris.
I would say Paris. That would be my bet.
Milan, Paris. Yeah. If I didn't know the answer, I would say Paris as well. It was actually in New York in 1943. That's where it started. 1943 was the first fashion week in New York City. Now, I think I'm going to have to write this word into the chat so everybody can see it. What is a sirwal?
What is what?
Yeah, I'm going to write it into the chat. I'm going to write the word. That's the word. What is that in the style or fashion industry? Does anybody know?
No. I don't know. Does anyone else know?
So they're actually a type of trousers, very popular across Persia, the Near East, They were a very baggy type of trouser, worn by men originally, with a very low crotch on it.
Oh,
So
yes.
people might use them now for yoga pants or something like that,
Yes.
or, you know, to feel very relaxed.
Yeah.
But that's what they are. There we go, Cyril. So yeah, it's a word that I don't think is very popular in the fashion industry right now. Who knows what might come
Who
into
knows
it
when that
in
might
10
come
years.
back? Yes.
Yeah. Okay, question 10. What is the oldest fashion house still in operation? A luxury fashion house. What is the oldest luxury fashion house still in operation? And I'll give you a clue. It's a French one.
Oldest one.
Chanel, Dior.
Dior.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chanel.
You would think Chanel, right? Yeah, Dior. Another guess for Dior. It was actually, this is going back actually to 1837. This was established.
Was it?
Yes. So most of these fashion houses like Chanel, Dior were all in the 1900s. But this is actually going back to 1837, and it was Hermes.
Hermes, was it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Still going strong as well. Yeah.
Have you seen that film, House of Gucci, anybody?
Can you believe I haven't seen it yet?
Has anyone else seen House of Gucci?
Yeah, let us know what you thought.
The Netflix film. It's really interesting, actually, all about Gucci, and
Mandy
loved it. Yes, Mandy, wasn't it interesting? I loved it. I thought, what's the actress in it? The singer,
Gaga.
Lady Gaga. She was in it. Yeah, I thought she was fantastic, but really well played, brilliantly done. Yeah, you've got to see it over the holidays.
That's one to put on the list for Christmas, I think. Yes. Okay, so the question 11. What was the name of the first perfume by Coco Chanel? What was the name of the first perfume by Coco Chanel?
Do we know, everybody? What do we think it was? Number 5. That's what I would have said, number 5.
Yeah, number 5 is correct. Yeah. Here's a bonus question. I'll just while we talk about Coco Chanel. Does anybody who know her actual first name? It's not Coco. Does anybody know for extra points?
Anybody know? I don't know. No. Any thoughts? Anyone on that one?
Her name was Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, really? Where
Gabrielle
did Coco come
Chanel.
from?
Coco was like, a nickname. But Gabrielle Chanel was her name. And she started off as a seamstress.
Did she?
Yeah, she did indeed. Yeah. There's a lovely book. I think it's called Chanel's Riviera. A lovely one to read, actually, if you're interested in her life and that kind of the era that she was in, when she became what she was. Very interesting book, a nice read. Okay. Who designed the iconic little black dress for Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's? Who designed the iconic little black dress for Audrey Hepburn in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's? Any ideas?
Any ideas, anyone? I'm just looking at comments on Facebook as well.
Oh, yes.
There's a few here, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone? Mary Quant? Givenchy?
Oh, okay. So somebody's got it right. We've got 3 different answers and somebody's got it right. Julia, well done. Givenchy, well done. Exactly. There we go. So Givenchy designed that very iconic dress that Audrey Hepburn wore. Question 13. In the film The Devil Wears Prada, the character Miranda Priestley was based on somebody in real life. Who was that somebody? Thought to be based on.
I didn't see that film, actually.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Okay, it's a nice light one to watch. So The Devil Wears Prada has a character called Miranda Priestley, and it's thought to be based on somebody in real life.
Ah.
Who was that? Yeah. Somebody who you often see at fashion shows who seems to always wear glasses.
I know.
And has a bob haircut.
Yes.
Ben has come in with his answer. Well done, Ben. And Amanda,
Exactly.
well done. Yeah, Anna Wintour is the correct answer. Yes, well done. That's our Ben from Goldster there.
Coming to the rescue.
Yes.
Yeah, Anna Wintour. Yeah.
Okay. Any fans of Sex and the City here?
I worked on that actually. I
The
worked
next
on
question is about it.
we did a premiere of when the first film came out. We traveled around Europe with I was doing what was the dark girl with the dark hair? I was doing her makeup.
Yes, what was her name?
And you remember what her name was in Sex and the City? In real life, it's Kristen someone, but I don't know what her name was in the show. But she had the long dark hair. She was quite sort of prim and proper. So I was traveling around doing her makeup, and we were due to fly in a private jet to another part of Europe. And I got in my cab at the right time, and the cab took a wrong turn, and I missed the private jet. It was just like one of those moments where I just thought, this cannot be happening to me. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I had to catch a flight the next day. And it wasn't my fault. That was the thing. But it was just, one of those horrible stories. But, anyway, there we go. I slightly diverse, but yeah, little story for you.
Must have been, one of those sliding door moments. For some reason, it wasn't meant to be.
Exactly. And I flew there the next day, and I sort of, made it up. I had to work, worked extra hard, but it was all good in the end.
Right.
It's that moment that builds resilience.
Oh, yes, that'll do it for you. Okay, so the question is, who is the favorite shoe designer of Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City? So she was really, she loved this particular type of shoe designer. Does anybody know? So Stephanie has a question there. What is the dewy makeup you use? A highlighter. Did you use a highlighter, Lee?
So Stephanie, I did use a highlighter. And Stephanie, sorry, I saw you. I could see your comment on Facebook as well. So the highlighter I used was also by a brand my friend has called Lisa Eldridge, and this is the highlighter that she does. And this one is called Crystal Nebula. And you can go on to lisaeldridge.com and see all her products on there. And she also has a pop-up in Covent Garden. But this is very, very beautiful. It is, I mixed it in with the foundation a little bit, but even on its own, this is that comes in sort of different tones. You can see if I put a little bit here, it just adds a very nice glow to the skin without looking glittery in daylight. That's the thing. Because when you're using highlighter, thank you, Ben, when you're using highlighter, you want to make sure that when you try it out, it just has a glow to it. You don't want the glittery particles that can sometimes, once you blend it, start to appear on the surface of the product. When you do that with this one, it really does just add hydration and reflective glow. So as I move my face, you can see what that does without looking too much, So this thing is being just a bit, clever about where you place these products as we go through time, because if I start putting it in the wrong place, it's going to highlight areas I don't necessarily want to highlight, but on top of the cheekbones can look very nice. Does that help, Stephanie? Do let me know.
Thanks for that, Lee.
You're welcome.
We've got a few suggestions here for the shoe designer. So it was Manolo Blahnik is the answer there, the favorite shoes of Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City. We've got one final question. The Hermes Kelly bag, the iconic Kelly bag, is named after which Hollywood actress? Anybody know?
Kelly bag.
Yes. So Hermes has two very famous bags, I would say. One is the Kelly, which kind of has a flat top, and then the Birkin, which kind of has a more rounded top to it. Both incredibly pricey bags. Okay, so Julia and Carmel says Grace Kelly. Yes, you're absolutely right. So Hermes created this bag based on the inspiration from Grace Kelly. Yes, Bryony, Grace Kelly it is. Yeah, well done. So how did you do on the style quiz? How's your knowledge? I see Stephanie's shaking her head.
No, I'm with you, Stephanie. I was like, I don't know. I can tell you about, other things, but not that. Yes.
Yeah.
Work to be done. Definitely work to be done on that one. Yes.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on style, particularly festive style, I suppose, since it's the week that we're in, or makeup? I'm noticing how much dewier your skin looks compared to mine, Lee, and you're inspiring me to kind of introduce maybe something with a bit more reflectiveness in it. Is that the word? To brighten
luminosity.
The skin looks lovely and bright. But you know what? I'm still convinced it's because I'm wearing the wrong color. That's what it is. If I show you, wait till you see the difference here.
Yeah.
So I've got my colors drapes.
Oh, okay. This is what you do in your sessions, isn't it?
Yes. So we're talking all about color in these 6 weeks that we're in. So it's not a very strong gold, but it's still making my skin look pretty dull, I've got to say. It's just, this is a secondhand jumper that I bought a couple of years ago, just, for this time of year.
Yeah.
I wanted something Christmassy, but not necessarily with a Rudolph on it, So this is the gold, which, my skin looks still pretty dull, I think. If we put the silver next to my face, it should brighten my skin immediately.
Look at that.
Yeah, and do you see how much more definition I have in my jawline?
Oh my gosh. I've never done my colors. I just go on instinct. That is amazing.
You know that you're cool. I mean, from doing beauty and makeup.
Yeah.
You know that the cool tones suit you.
Especially with this hair color. Yeah. When I had brown hair, I could go a bit the other way, but yeah. Mandy, that's such a lovely comment. What a wonderful uplifting hour. Thank you both. Much needs to. You both look amazing. I hope you'll be out celebrating tonight. I'll be celebrating in my kitchen with a massage that I booked at home.
Lovely. That's lovely.
I know. Isn't that nice? Look at that. Wow. That is amazing, actually. Goodness me.
Lose the definition. Skin is dull. Definition in my jawline. Eyes look a bit brighter.
That is amazing. Do other people, have you done your colours before, everyone on here? Are you familiar with what I mean, obviously in your classes you talk about this, but have you actually done yours, anybody? Or do you, like me, do you just kind of go with your sense of what's right? I mean, obviously, as Sarah says, I know through makeup, but yeah, definitely when I started to change my hair, grow my hair colour out and put a lilac toner on it, I thought actually some of those bronzy colours need to go. And yes, go with actually I've had this jacket since I was about 21.
Fab. Love that.
I know, isn't it? It's a bit cropped though for real life, but seeing as you can only see it from here up, it's fine.
But that's okay. Then that's where you start to maybe layer it with a longer piece underneath.
Yes.
That's how to do a crop jacket. If you don't want to just do high-waisted trousers, then the crop jacket, you wear a longer layer underneath the jacket.
Oh, really?
Over your trousers, bring it down to a length where it's comfortable for you. And when you have a crop jacket, people think, oh, that's just for, a person of a different age. It actually, when you layer it like that, it highlights the waistline. So it gives you a sense of definition without actually revealing too much of your shape.
Yeah.
So a cropped jacket is something nice to have in the wardrobe.
I've got a polo neck under it now. So, and my leggings.
Well, it's all about, what makes you feel good. You could go for a longer fitting blouse or something like that. That could work as well over leggings or jeans.
Yeah.
Bryony said, so Bryony has had her colours done. Friend says, how come I can go shopping and be in and out before her, know exactly where to look instead of browsing? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of having colours done. It certainly does get you focused on what's for you and what's not for you.
Yeah.
And when you're clear on that, it makes shopping so much easier.
Yeah.
And then you build a wardrobe around colours that really work for you. It's time to let after this Christmas, this jumper's going. After seeing how dull it's made my skin look.
It's good to keep checking in though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have a silver sequins top. I'll wear that for my Monday class at 11 o'clock. I'll be back again for that.
Fabulous.
So
Yes.
I'm so glad you enjoyed the hour, Mandy. Still struggling with style though. Well, you've ticked one box there, Bryony. So it's just, it's putting the pieces together. It is a bit of a puzzle, and you have to kind of get those pieces together for it all to come together.
Yeah.
And that means your colors, knowing what's good for your body shape, your style, personality, and working on your confidence at the same time. So it's getting all of these aligned.
Totally.
And that's when style comes together.
Totally. Absolutely. And just before we depart, on Christmas Eve at 9 a.m., myself and our wonderful head of operations, Stephanie McConville, will be together for an open mic session with all of you. So anyone that wants to come on and unmic and chat to your Goldster friends and wish them a happy Christmas for a kind of Christmas Eve coffee meetup, then do come and join us at 9 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And some of your favorite tutors will be popping in to say hello and then popping off. So if you're around, Sarah, do pop in and say hi. We've put the message out to everyone. I hope you'll come and join us, and to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And
Merry Christmas,
thanks,
everybody.
Thanks so much for inviting me today, Sarah. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I hope you found that helpful. All righty.
Thank you, Lee. Thanks for joining us. Have a lovely Christmas if you're celebrating, or a lovely weekend. I'll see you again on Monday at 11 o'clock. See you then. Take care, everybody. Happy styling. Bye. Bye.